All right, so let's start with the Mavs Suns, which I find surprising because the Celtics Bucks series was the one that was the better series. It
For
was the
sure.
one every single game seemed to come down to the wire. We talked about it. We talked about the defensive intensity, the fact that the Celtics seemed like the better team, but Giannis is inevitable and was incredible and everything else.
Yeah.
That going into going into the game 7 Sunday, that was the one that I had circled. I'm currently traveling. I am we can save this for later. Maybe I am as I
You're
speak
back in
into
your
this
favorite
microphone,
city, right? You're back in New
back
York
in
City.
my back in the butthole of Manhattan, New York, right now as I speak. But on Sunday I was in New York and I not in New York, famously not a great sports city, not a great
Yeah.
sports city, not a lot. There's just not a great scene. People don't
Famously.
care about sports.
Yeah.
So it's Sunday and I'm in the city and I'm trying to figure out where to watch a game. And I almost this is when I wish I still was active on Twitter because every so often I think of something to tweet that I find funny, but then I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to send it. I almost tweeted, does anybody know of a good bar in New York City? And then just hit send on it. Just to, like, see what the response would have been. But as I was trying to find a place to watch the games, I was telling the people I was with because they weren't like super into. They're into sports, but like not like they were like, oh, is it the game sevens today? They're that kind of sports fan. Like, oh,
Yeah.
watch if it's game 7, but
Oh,
like I don't know.
interesting.
Oh, is
Yeah.
it? Is that today?
Ah,
And I was explaining, I was like, well, honestly, the Bucks Celtics series is the one that I have to watch. Like that's the one that's going to be good. I think the Suns Mavericks game is going to be a stinker. I just don't know which way. It's probably going to be the Suns. They'll probably win by 20 or 30, but it's going to be a stinker of a game. It's the Bucks Celtics series. That's the game we have to watch. So I did that. I found the bar. I found my little corner booth. I was all set up. First half was good, but anyway, the point for this whole monologue, Tate, is that I cannot believe that coming out of Boston wins, Giannis the defending champs get sent home, and yet coming out of the Sunday, the game we're talking about, the game everyone's talking about, is the Mavericks Suns game because this was the most embarrassing, most despicable act of bad. Like I, I don't understand how we just got done watching the Heat and the Sixers and the way the Sixers got eliminated, and like my brain could not comprehend like a team giving such little effort as the season was coming to an end.
yeah.
And then 2 days later, I turn on my television and this is happening in front of me watching the Suns and the Mavericks. And I guess that's my preamble is like I can't believe that this is the game that we're talking about. When it was a 40-point blowout the entire game, and the Bucks Celtics somehow got put on the back burner when it was a game 7 in Boston against the defending champs.
Yeah.
And yet all anyone wants to talk about is how great Luka is and Chris Paul is the biggest fraud on earth. Or is it Devin Booker? Or is it DeAndre Ayton? Or is it Monty Williams? Or is it who's the biggest fraud on the Suns?
I think you summed it up well because we're talking about something we're so fascinated by because we watched the best team in basketball all season quit. We watched the team
Yeah.
that was supposed to go and win this championship because last year they were up 2-0 and this is their redemption time and they had all the pieces. They had addressed everything in the offseason. They had the coach of the year. They had the quote-unquote point guard. They had Devin Booker who could score with the best of them. They had everything. They had the recipe to run it back and make it happen. And I think the thing that really is shocking to every single person this morning and as they watched was that they quit. You know what I mean? And Steve Kerr said, broke the code, and that became a meme that was all over the place, and it was about the Dylan Brooks foul. But I think what's happening in basketball right now is that, and the reason why it's so jarring, is that the code of of the game itself and the spirit of competition is being broken because, like you said, Philadelphia quit. Like, we watched them quit live.
The Warriors quit in Memphis.
Exactly. We watched the Warriors quit in Memphis. We watched in a game 7 on the biggest stage in basketball where legacies are built and, it's the best words in basketball. Game 7, this is where you come and write your story. They quit. And they quit, I mean, in domino fashion because I watched who quit first. DeAndre Ayton quit first. I watched him quit. I could not believe that he quit. And Monty Williams, I mean, good on him. He took him out of the game. He was like, okay, you're going to quit. You're out of the game. But then once he quit, Chris Paul quit. And then when Chris Paul quit, Devin Booker quit. And I will say this: I think there were 4 guys on the Suns that I think did not quit. Mikal Bridges did not quit. Cam Johnson did not quit. I mean, he probably should have with Luka Dončić what he was doing to him. I probably would have quit. He didn't quit. JaVale McGee didn't quit, and Bismack Biyombo didn't quit. But every single person on the Suns outside of that got playing time, they had a defeated I am quitting. You know what I mean? And then the holiday play at the end of the game where he goes and steals the ball against Boban and like takes the three. I mean, that was like, what are we doing here? This feels like a regular season. We'll get you back in a week or in a month when we see you later. But this was Game 7.
Game
and
7.
You quit. And you quit. And I think that's why we're all freaking out, because I didn't even think that was a possible. Like, I didn't even think that was a choice that could be made in a Game 7. I didn't think you could just quit. DeAndre Ayton quit, and he was the first one. And when he quit, I could not believe it. And I understand the guy didn't get a max that he wanted. I understand there were business implications. I understand he's going to be a free agent. All of that is separate from the spirit of competition in the game in front of you. You quit in a Game 7. That is something I will remember about DeAndre Ayton for a long time. He's a number 1 pick. He got picked before Luka Dončić, and I remember him quitting against Buffalo, and I remember him quitting against the Dallas Mavericks.
The Buffalo game I was watching this unfold, and I was like, oh, we've seen this story before. Yeah.
Where's Nate Oates?
Get some Buffalo vibes out of it. You're absolutely right. My algorithm that I built for the NBA playoffs certainly did not have quitting as an option.
I didn't think it was an option.
No. I
didn't think it was an option in a Game 6, but Philadelphia, I kind of like wiped it away because I'm like, Joel's hurt. You know, James Harden is obviously on to the offseason. So like them quitting, I almost gave a bit of a pass. Ben Simmons quit last year. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, what is the world that we're living in where like that is a choice and an option? Because I had never lived in a world where it was before, but I guess here we are. Yeah,
and for me, what's especially confusing is I want to blame it all on the Zoomers, because that's where I'm at as a guy as I age in this society. I want to blame that's
what people do.
Every societal shift, I want to be like, that's obviously the Zoomers. Those guys, those kids are idiots, and they're leading us down a dark path. But to have Chris Paul be the face of, maybe not the face, maybe Devin Booker's the face of the Suns, but he's the undisputed leader. He's the face of the Sun. He's the quote unquote point god, and to have him, I my mind can't even comprehend it. Like I really do. Listen, I understand people that follow the playoffs and follow the NBA and know they're always up on their meme state. The NBA Twitter people, the people that know who you can rely on in the playoffs and who you can't, and who's a choke artist and who's not, and all that stuff. And I understand that for a lot of people, watching Chris Paul lose by 74 points in a Game 7 when he has the best team in basketball, they said, this isn't a surprise. We've seen this before. This is Chris Paul failing in the playoffs yet again. We have not seen this before. This was was another 3 levels up from what I could even comprehend. Like you said, man, like if you went into this and you asked me what are the possible outcomes, the Phoenix Suns being down by 50 at one point, did it ever get to 50? It was knocking on the door of 50.
I don't know. I went to hockey.
I couldn't even do the math, dude. Like
it was the Rangers game. I was like, I can't watch this anymore. Hey there, thanks for watching Titus and Tate. For the full friend of the program experience, subscribe right below and come join us for all things college basketball. The action is heating up. Come join Titus and Tate.